Hey guys, today I want to talk to you about 5 tips for new apartment buyers. If you're coming from the residential world, which a lot of you are, and you're trying to break into multifamily, there's some things that you need to know that are different from the typical 1 to 4 unit that you're used to getting financing on. So the first one is qualifying. So you might be coming to me saying, hey Crystal, great, I have $250,000 to buy an apartment building. And so that means I can buy something worth $1 million, right? That's 75% loan to value. Wrong. Most apartments these days, you're needing to come in with 30 to 35% down, and that's if you're not coastal or in prime neighborhoods. So even though we can go to 75 to 80% loan to value, the property might not cash flow. So unlike what you're used to, we need to look at the property to support the debt. It 100% has to support the debt. And there's a certain way that we look at it too. So you can't really try and manipulate the numbers and say, well, I'm going to self-manage, so you don't need to put that fee in there, and now I can qualify for more. That's completely wrong. A bank looks at it as if they had to take back the property. What would it cost them to operate the building? So that would include hiring a professional management company. So that's a big, long topic that we can talk about and dive deeper into, but bottom line is you need to get with your loan officer or call me, and I can look at the property operating info and do an analysis and let you know exactly how much the property qualifies for. So number 2 is broker or brokers. If you have a residential agent that you absolutely love working with, that's awesome. But if you want to buy apartments, you need to talk to an actual apartment broker. The reason why is I'm sure your agent is great, but they're probably just really good at residential. Once you get into the apartment world, first off, apartments are valued differently. So you need a broker that understands cap rate, understands how buildings are valued, understands income and expenses. That may seem simple, or maybe it seems complex to you. But knowing the typical income and expenses on an apartment building is really critical. That how can a broker guide you if they don't understand what they're looking at? And a lot of times I like to say your broker is hopefully an apartment investor. I mean, we need to drink our own Kool-Aid, right? So if I'm sitting here talking to you about apartment financing, I hopefully own apartments, which I do. And your broker hopefully owns apartments as well. That way they can speak to you not only as a professional broker, but as a real estate owner themselves. The next thing is location. I hear this all the time from people who are used to investing in residential properties. Well, I only want to buy things that I would like to live in. That's not really the way to look at this. The bottom line is this is a business. So just because you're not going to feel super proud to like drive your family by this fancy, shiny new property that you bought, if the thing cash flows and it makes sense, that's all that you need to know. So just because it's not in the area that you might live in, there are other people in the world who need to live in these areas for affordability, or maybe it's where they grew up or what they're used to. There's a lot of reasons why people live in different areas of the country. So using what you would live in as your guide for investing is just not a smart idea. Chances are wherever you might live or where you want to live might be really unaffordable. It might be really difficult to cash flow on properties in those neighborhoods. So at the end of the day, this is a non-emotional decision. This is a business decision. This is why I love multifamily so much, because it all comes down to the numbers and what makes sense. And then obviously you've got to look at demographics and growth and all those things to make a final decision. But this is business. It's super easy. No emotions. The next thing is your strategy. So hopefully if you're looking at apartments, you have some sort of a strategy. You can't just go blindly into buying apartments. For one, that just kind of leaves you to a lot of different areas you might invest in, types of properties. I mean, you got to kind of know what kind of an investor you are. Are you looking for value add properties? If that's the case, you're probably looking at needing private money financing if you don't have a big chunk of cash to put down. Are you looking for turnkey properties? Well, you're probably going to pay market, but at the same time, somebody else already did the work for you. Are you looking in, working class neighborhoods? So like C neighborhoods. Are you looking in B neighborhoods or A neighborhoods? All of this is coming down to what kind of a strategy you have and what your idea is. Is this a long-term hold? Is this a short-term hold? Of course, things can change, but you want to have kind of a strategy moving forward so you know what kind of properties you're going to be looking for, and you're not just calling your broker, having them search around, and eventually giving up because they have better clients who know what they're doing, who do have a strategy. This is really critical for your growth and critical for having brokers help you to like look for properties and things like that. You just don't go into things blindly. So have a strategy. Lastly, the most important thing, whenever you finally have closed on your property, you got a competitive loan, you found the property, you closed, now you own it. What are you going to do? Are you going to self-manage? I don't really recommend that. Or are you going to hire professional management? So you may want to self-manage some of your smaller properties in the beginning to get experience. But again, this might not be your full-time gig. If you have a full-time job, do you really want people calling you and bothering you when they have a leaky faucet, or somebody made too much noise, or they want to move in, they want to move out, they need a lease extension, you have a vacancy, you need to market it, you have to go show your units. I mean, this is something that a professional manager can take care of. And once you get into the apartment realm, like 5+ units, you can get fairly affordable management. And the other thing I tell people is, let's say you do have the time. Is your time best spent dealing with all this petty stuff? Or is it better spent trying to make more money to buy more deals, looking at deals, networking with brokers, doing those sorts of things? What is getting you the most ROI? I guarantee you it's not managing your property. So this is the thing I think a lot of owners get caught up with. It's really petty for us to sit here and nickel and dime our properties because we want to do everything ourselves. Hopefully you value your time more than that, and you're willing to pay a manager like 5% or 6% to manage your property. I promise you it's going to save you a lot of headache. It's going to save you a lot of time. And also, they're going to treat it like a business. You're going to feel bad to kick your tenants out. I mean, when you got, an 80-year-old tenant who's living in a building that has significantly below market rents, you're probably going to feel bad for kicking that woman out or giving her a notice to vacate, or the tenant that comes and gives you the sob story as to why they can't pay their rent this month or why they need to pay late, or someone who cries about the rent increase you gave them and wants to bargain with you. These are the kinds of things that you can at least have a middle person to handle. And they're not going to have that same emotion. They're going to treat it like a business, which is the only way to operate your investment. This is a business. This is not a personal hobby. Hopefully your plan is to make money on it. So hire a manager. Handle it professionally. Handle it like a business. That's it for my tips today.